Universally,
Okay.
I have good experiences with women. I'm not going to say in every single country I go to, I'm Don Juan DeMarco and they just, they throwing rose petals at my feet. I'm not gonna tell lies like that. But no, overall, I'm able to find someone that I can get along with, somebody that's agreeable in any African country that I've been to.
Because so the guys are having, in general, better experiences. I think we used to, the world is so hard on black men already. It's like we just kind of used to the BS.
Right.
Whereas they get preferential treatment in the West to a certain degree. Like there's no accountability that has to be held.
Yeah.
But I think I just saw a woman get like put in a cage or something for cheating on her husband. It's somewhere in the Middle East.
I think I saw something about
Yeah, so it's just like when they do stuff like that, you already know they just not playing about certain things. There's one woman that I think she took off her, what you call the black thing the Muslim girls wear?
The niqab or hijab? The hijab is the hat one.
With the whole cover, like the whole black.
Okay.
She took it off and had her her bra out and everything. And they came and arrested her and they don't even know where she at no more.
Okay, wow.
Like those men don't play. And then here you go being a Western woman. For some odd reason, it's cool that you're traveling, but you expect the standard of the West to be around the world. I'm like, it's actually rougher for women around the world. Like we got the most liberal, stuff. Even though Trump is kind of changing that a little bit. Some of the laws,
the laws are in their favor in the West, and a lot of times they take that for granted if they don't have a lot of international experience. And I occasionally I'll watch some of the channels from sisters because it's good to just have a broad experience. Not just how we see things, to empathize. You know what I'm saying? See how other people.
But you said it earlier, like you said, your experiences as a black man gonna be different than everybody else's.
Yeah, absolutely. But I remember I watched a couple sisters channels, who were living in Africa, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm moving back. Like these men here, are not good." And this is not to bash African men or anything like that. I'm just saying what this sister's personal experience was. She was a sister a little bit older, maybe late 40s or something like that, and she was kind of stuck because in the country that she was in, she was not able to meet a man in her age range who had, the resources. Exactly, that's the right word. Resources, anywhere near the ones that she could get. So what she had was a lot of very shallow relationships with, them beach boys, dudes who, they handle things in the bedroom, but how many hours a day you going to be in the bedroom?
Is that true?
That's what I heard. That's what I heard, man. Yeah. I can't confirm or deny, but
you've been to that. Have you been to that beach where they be all there?
No. Okay, I haven't been. I haven't. So the only, I guess, beach boy culture that I've really experienced myself in Africa. Pause, because I'm not talking about myself, but I've seen it myself. That's what I'm saying. Right. 'Cause I know they got jokes and stuff, man. But the only that I've seen is in Zanzibar. Because in Zanzibar, there's dudes who it exists in DR too, in the beach resorts and stuff.
Oh yeah,
the dudes.
Sanky Pankies.
Exactly, Sankies, right?
Yeah. You first. Sanky Panky episode. Y'all asked for it, here it is.
Okay. So, Sanky Panky, is a person who is basically here to make your time in the Caribbean great.
A gigolo.
In all types of ways.
Gigolo, escort.
A piece of that.
They got a whole movement. They got a movie.
Seen it. Yeah, I seen
you seen that movie?
Yeah,
it's like Friday Hilarious.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoever that comedian is.
Oh yeah, Skinny Dude.
Yeah, Skinny Dude. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that shit funny as hell, bro.
Yeah, but
even though he speaks Spanish and I understand maybe half of what he says.
Right.
He's like a Tommy Davidson or like a Martin. Like his mannerisms be funny.
Right. Yeah, the timing and everything.
Yeah, he'd be hilarious. That's how I know they black, but that's another story,
Right. Yeah, but in Zanzibar, that's a place where in Ghana too, and what's the other one? The Gambia. That's another one that's famous, man. But
yeah,
I haven't actually been to the Gambia, but that one is famous for the grannies, the white grandmas from the UK or whatever. But not only them, but some other ones too. But anyway, but in Zanzibar, there are dudes who that's their whole job is wake up, work out, and then just look for tourist women on the beach and try to get to the bag. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, and apparently it's a career because they have customers. They have people who come there for that experience, right? But that being said, she was able to get that, but everything else that she wanted, she was not able to get, because you got to think the maturity is not going to be there, the culture, the commonality, the laws to protect you, like in the States, are not going to be there. So, you know, if he goes upside your head, he just goes upside your head. You know, who you going to call? Your brothers ain't there, your pops ain't there. You know what I'm saying? You have no extended family who could defend you, but he does. He's got everything. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, she just was not feeling it and was like, I'm going back. You know, I miss Black American men. And I've seen that.
She said she missed Black American men.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen that on more than one channel. And like I said, I don't watch these channels all the time, but you know, every once in a while in my algorithm, it'll pop up and I'll be like, all right, let me take a look at that or whatever. And yeah, that's what I've been seeing. More common than you think, that a lot of times, especially if they have some maturity, you know, if they just go out there the first.
You mean old? Especially some old bitches.
Yeah. More or less.
Okay.
Yeah. Once they have experience, when they have time to be like, okay, I spent, you know, my 20s and 30s in the States, and then I spent my 40s over here. And I'm like, yo, it was actually not that bad back there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
they looked over the guy they were supposed to be with.
Right. And I feel like for a lot of times, it's the opposite experience for brothers, where it's like, you know, I'm not going to, you know, paint everybody's situation with a broad brush, but there are many situations where, you know, a brother is just like, look, just give me a cool chick who's chill, who's not going to give me any drama, not going to, you know, everything is not going to be a fight. You know, things are going to be
my peace.
Yeah, exactly. Just be my peace. And, you know, you don't got to be a runway model, you know, be attractive, you know, be pleasant, and everything else will work itself out as long as we work together, right? And a lot of dudes who weren't able to find that in the States for whatever reason, they're able to find that like almost immediately. I won't say immediately, but in a very short amount of time, if they're really staying on the continent. Now, if they're just there for 2 weeks, then, you know, it's not going to be that deep of a situation. But everyone else I know who's actually putting time in Africa, yeah, man, they're really reaping the benefits as it relates to relationships and, you know, just low stress. And, you know, like I said, and you spoke about, you know, really anywhere you go in the world, there is going to be, that's outside of Africa, there is going to be that, you know, stereotypes of the black man, even if, you know, they don't really mean any harm. It's still always there. And you know,
stereotypes of black men in Africa?
No, I'm saying of just black men in general. I'm saying when you're outside of Africa. I'm saying anywhere else in the world, like whether we're in China, whether we're in Japan, whether
that's true.
England, man. Yeah, exactly. There's always going to be, you know, a little bit of a stereotype, you know, and how much weight that is going to be different based on the country. Like in America, that weight could be this heavy. You know, in Thailand, that weight might be like this. You know what I'm saying? But that weight is always going to be there on some level, unless you're in a black country.
All right, y'all, you need to download that Passport Bros app, man. Look at me, I got it right here on my phone, right next to all my frequently used apps. It pops open just like that, man. You just go on the Passport Bros app, post your travels. Some guys, they might send you some cash, you know. I got like a little balance here, guys sending me dough for all the posts I'm doing. It's really good. The community is super supportive. These are real travelers, man. You want to stay away from all the clowns, right? The clowns are not allowed on the Passport Bros app. We only got the cool travelers, man, like the cool passport champions, passport kings. That's what we are, man. So download the Passport Bros app, and you know, you want to see me on it. You want to see me on it. You're going to see BMT on it. That's how we do it, man. Passport Bros app. Get it.
Caribbean or, you know, Africa. And when you're in a black country, all that weight is off, and it's like I'm just a man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a black man. I'm not a this extra, you know, I'm an American, of course, or whatever. I'm always going to have, you know, that heritage, that background.
Has to be somewhat of a relief to look like everybody.
But beyond that, I'm just a man when I'm walking down the street. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And that's something that, you know, you really have to experience that. I could talk for 5 hours, and you're never really going to know what that's like unless you've been there.
Okay.
And like for the record, you know what I mean? I love to talk about Africa, but I'm a world traveler. I've always been a world traveler. And as far as the Africa piece, I'm not here trying to sell anybody a dream. You know what I'm saying? I don't organize tours to Africa or anything like that. Maybe 5 years from now I may do something like that, but that is not my motivation to speak about it. I speak about it because it's real. I like to speak about the real wherever I go. If I go somewhere in Asia and it's trash and they treat me crazy, I'm gonna talk about that. If I go somewhere in Asia and I love it, I'm gonna talk about that. If I'm in Europe, same thing, and everywhere else, you know what I'm saying? I just like to go all around the world and keep it real, share some of my stories with guys. But the most exclusive, you know what I mean, the grown folk stories, those stories are going to be on Patreon, man, because
nice.
YouTube really does not appreciate a lot of that stuff. They censor a lot of that stuff, and the real ones will get it. And so that kind of stuff, unfortunately, I have to put it behind a wall, you know what I'm saying? And then also for privacy reasons too, because, you know, I'm not trying to put everybody's business out there where somebody can just search it out. But like for the real ones, a lot of that stuff is going to be on my Patreon channel, which is up now.
So you familiar with Barber World, his content?
Yeah, Zoe.
International Zoe, yeah.
Yeah, I interviewed him on my channel.
Okay, cool. So he said in the most recent podcast that ultimately all women are the same, no matter where you go. I just want your opinion on that, because I loosely agree with the baseline level of women in hypergamy, and like we all know that in general, women are gonna be hypergamous. They're gonna want guys who providers. They're gonna do certain things in their early years. Like I get all that part of it, but I do think culturally, women are much different depending on what country you go to. What do you think? You've been all over the world, so what's your opinion on that?
That's one of those questions that like, it's true, but it depends. You know what I'm saying? It's like how deep are we gonna go into it? Like
go deep, brother. Go deep with it. Yeah.
You know the male
Pause,
animal.
Pause.
You know the male animal and the female animal, yes, are the same across humans, right? Certain things in our brain chemistry, like a female in China and a female in Oakland, they got the same brain chemistry. They both have way more emotions than a man is gonna have. But the way that they're going to express it, yes, is going to be completely different based on the cultural context and based on what the men in that culture will or will not accept. So yeah, on the baseline level, yes, all women are the same when you talk about, do they get periods? Yes. Are they going to, be a little bit bitchy around that time? Yes. Those kind of things are universal across the board. So you're not going to completely escape that. But the level of combativeness is going to be different. The level of, I would even go as far as to say testosterone. You could probably prove that with science that, yeah, in certain cultures, certain women, they just have lower testosterone, so they're much less likely to be aggressive because, testosterone, that's what, more or less makes people more aggressive or less aggressive. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the reasons why, if you look around the world, the countries that have the lowest crime tend to be the oldest countries. So where do we have the oldest populations in the world? Europe right now has the oldest population on Earth. I think the average age,
Over China and stuff?
No, well, it depends. I'm saying like as a region, as a whole region.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like in the EU, right? So look at Switzerland. I think the average age there is like 45. That's average. So half the people are older, half are younger. Probably China, maybe like 38, something like that. And Thailand too is in the 30s or something like that. So as we age, we lose testosterone, right? So you're going to have less crime when you don't have as much testosterone. You have less aggressiveness, et cetera, et cetera. So, okay. So to take that to females, it's the same kind of thing. Like I think women who have more testosterone are going to be a little more aggressive, and I think science backs that up. As it relates to relationships, absolutely, women are different around the world. Yes, all women are seeking security. I will say that's a universal. All women are hypergamous. That is a universal. But there are levels, like everything. There are levels. So I'll give you one perfect example. So women in the West, more than any other women in the world, and when I say West, I mean specifically America, but even going beyond America to the European countries, Canada, et cetera, but primarily America. American women value height more than any women across the world.
I've heard that before.
And
I heard that.
You might think that, okay, well, are American men the tallest in the world? No, they're not. So it's not really logical. There's no logic behind it. It's a cultural thing. It's something that is not in women's biology. Yes, it's in women's biology to want a mate who's stronger than them, who's taller than them, who's smarter than them, who's better than them in pretty much everything. That's a constant across women.
That's true.
Who earns more than them. They want somebody who's better. That's what hypergamy means, if you guys are not aware. But this can be exaggerated and hyper exaggerated. There's masculinity and there's hyper masculinity. So I've noticed this. So one of my first videos, I was in Africa and some different countries. I was asking women like, you know, how important is height to you? And they're like, yeah, you know, I would like the guy to be taller than me, but like, does he have to be 6 foot? Like, no. Like, why? I'm 5'5". You know what I'm saying? And
I don't think that height even counts out here in Thailand.
Yeah, exactly. Not only Thailand. That's a very Western concept, and that's cultural. You know, that's kind of like, you know, Zoe was saying they're all the same. Yeah. Yes, they are the same when it comes to the hypergamy and the
5'9" is tall out here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like 6'2".
And the ironic thing too is because, like I said, I've lived in South America, not just visited. I've lived in Europe, not just visited. I saw more short men with tall women in Europe than I saw anywhere else in my life. And you might think, okay, well, it's because they got the bag, right? No, a lot of times it's not because they got the bag. I'm talking about a man and a woman, they both work in the same job, you know what I'm saying? So it's not even about like, yo, well, he got the money or nothing like that. No, it's about the fact that the number one thing is his background. You know, is he, you know, family wise, like, you know, is his family like cool with my family, or, you know, whatever, do we got the same friends? That's the first thing. Social circle is what people call it, right? That's the first thing. So the height, that comes way later. You know, that's superficial stuff. Like, of course, would she take a guy who's a couple inches taller and has everything he has? Yeah, why wouldn't she? That's like saying to a guy, would you take the same girl that you already got now, but she had a flatter stomach and a bigger butt or breast, depending on which one you prefer? Like, yeah, of course. You know what I'm saying? But that, like I said, that's extra stuff on the cake. That's like, yeah, that's nice, but it's like, that's not the first thing they're looking for. And I'm talking about really attractive women, not women who didn't have any options. Like, okay, well, she took what she could get. No, I'm talking about consistently. I saw that, you know, maybe there's like a 1 inch height difference, 2 inches, but it's not like feast or famine. Like the States, even going beyond like male, female, just the States, everything we do it to extremes. You know what I'm saying? Right. America probably has, you know, whoever the strongest man in the world is probably living in America. And whoever the fattest man in the world is probably also living in America. We're such a big country that we do everything to the extreme. And it's the same thing with height, that, you know, a woman can be 5'7" in America and she'd be like, I need a dude who's 6'4". It's like, why? You know what I mean? What is he gonna do with that extra height? Is he gonna play in the NBA? No. Is you got something in your house that's really high, he needs to reach on a shelf? Like, why does he need to be 6'4"? Like, I understand you need him to be taller than you. And I'm not a short guy saying this. So don't be like, oh, you know, he's just butt hurt because he's shorter. It's not even about that. I'm just analyzing how illogical it is and that it doesn't make sense. Like, yes, if you're a female and you're 5'9", I get it, why you might want to do who's 6'3". That makes sense.
I think the American women's standards are just unbelievably high.
It's just unrealistic.
Yeah, it's like unrealistic. You see that, I think the reason that Kevin Samuels blew up so much was because he was exposing how unrealistic the expectations were of a lot of women who, for example, will have 3 kids, be overweight, multiple baby fathers, and they still expect a dude to walk in the door 6 foot, good credit, be a thug, a street, you know what I'm saying, with a master's degree,
good luck with that.
They can blow their backs out. Like, they just, it's like fantasy land.
Fantasy, yes. Exactly.
I was telling Zoe, I said, man, I think we were doing better when we almost had somewhat of arranged marriages to a certain degree, or our parents really made a decision to help us pick on, especially with women. I think more with women than even the guys.
Sure.
Like, and it's important for the guys, like the mom, to kind of vouch for the girl that you're seeing. But I think it's like, because this thing about some of these other countries, we come from hookup culture, you know what I mean? Especially now, it's like more or less, you know, girls hook up with guys for a few months or a year or two and they on to the next one. You know, they're playing that hypergamy to the highest level in America.
Sure.
And guys are just seeing this and saying, man, you know, these girls ain't really hitting on nothing, so I'm just gonna try to smash and dash as fast as possible. Right. Well, the problem with that is when you are looking for a real relationship, now the pickings are slim for both guys, and because the guys are looking at it just like, man, you know, she just like the rest of them, and the women are comparing you to all the guys that they previously been in relationships with or slept with. So that'd be like the biggest issue where you go to maybe a certain country where they don't have hookup culture or they mate guard. Like every country has extremes, right? Sure. I'll give you an example of Colombia.
Okay.
Colombia.
It's gonna be good.
Has like, okay, we know that what they do in Colombia, right? A lot of women might, you know,
sell themselves?
Sell them, yeah, you know, monetize their beauty and everything like that. But you got, on the opposite side, you got a very conservative part of Colombia, which is the populace, which is most Colombian women. Who don't hook up with just any guys. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes guys want to go to Colombia to find good women, because they've been somewhat protected and mate guarded by their families. So when you come in there, you gotta take her serious. It's not just a hookup. You're not just taking the girl out, the hookup quick and then go to the next girl.
Right.
You know, if you want to do that, then they'll say, hey, you got all them pros over there for the speed dating.
Yeah.
But if you want something a little, you know, so I think that's like the big difference in the mentality of the woman, that she might not have the you know, so many bodies on her. Another reason what makes a lot of women different overseas compared to America is there's no age shaming.
Yes.
So you have a lot of men in South America who are like 10, 15, even 20 years older than their women.
Right.
Right. So the woman kind of looks up to the man to a certain degree.
Yeah, and that's not limited to Colombia. That's actually
all around the world.
That's actually male-female relations since the beginning of time. This whole shift in the last, let's say, 40 years of the man and the woman need to be within 4 years, or else it's exploitation and it's all these other words that you got. You know, this is craziness that didn't exist even for our grandparents. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even in America, this is not, oh, well, you know, that's American culture versus whatever culture. Like, no, this is our culture too. We just got away from our own culture in the last couple decades. And yes, outside of, I call it the Anglosphere, which is, you know, Canada, Britain, America, Australia, you know, the English-speaking countries. You know, the Manosphere, the Anglosphere. So outside of the Anglosphere, even today, age gaps are much more tolerated. You know, don't get crazy. Like if you're in, let's say, I don't know, like in Serbia, let's say you're Serbia, don't be 80 with a 20-year-old. Don't get crazy. But I'm saying 8-year difference, you know what I'm saying? She's 23, he's 31. Like, what's wrong with that? You know what I'm saying? But in America, people would be like, oh, you know, he's digging in the cradle and, you know, all this crazy stuff, which is probably something that your grandparents did. You know what I'm saying? So it was cool for them, but like now it's shameful. Like, how did we get to that point?
Yeah, there's a reason why you can like see a, you know, not foreign here, but you'll see a guy who, you know, is short, maybe in some cases unattractive to the you know, to the Western eye.
Right.
But he got a nice looking wife.
Right.
That's right beside him.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? He's not a millionaire and everything, and she's sticking with him. She's in that shop with him, you know, busting her ass, cooking. She's in the kitchen. That's his wife. That's
it's less superficial.
Right. That's his partner.
That's the thing.
But guess what? On the flip side, in the States, you got somebody that Tyrese, who's popular, got the status, got the money, millions of dollars in the bank. And then the woman, he married, divorces him, puts him on, you know, alimony, takes half his wealth.
Right.
It's like, oh, this guy has way more status. But guess what? The little guy with the woman in the small little family restaurant, he has a big asset. He has a good, honorable wife that's probably hasn't been with anybody else.
Yeah, he's winning.
You feel me? And that's a cultural thing. His culture provided him a wife and a woman and a mother to his children to see his legacy. Wise in America, it's the wild, wild west. We just going out here.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. Most of us are just going out there looking for women that got some ass and titties, who's freaky, who's promiscuous, and we think that's a W. Sure. Like if we go out to the club, me and you, we go out to a club in Miami. We meet some beautiful young women. I mean, beautiful ladies. You know what I'm saying? And we have a good time. We smash. That woman really wifey material? She might just been having a good time that particular night. Right. But she does that every weekend, bro.
Yeah.
Versus the guy who's in Afghanistan or something, his wife don't even know how to. She hasn't even had the top. What I call it the top popped yet. Me personally, I'd be like, if a woman has more than 5 sexual partners, she's different. I don't give a damn what nobody say. Yeah. She might not recognize the difference between her before the 5, but she's different. She's different, bro.
So when you say different, I'm
she's negative. She's going to be comparing you to other guys. She's going to be like, oh, Randy had that big 12-inch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Five is low. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just like want to hear more about it. Five. Yeah. I never thought about it as far as a number. Like, okay, at this number.
Okay, put 5.
I never thought about that.
Put 5 men side by side.
Okay.
That's a lot, right? That's a start.
That's a start. How much time though? Over how much time?
That's the big difference.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, that's the big difference.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, like, let's say Shorty was 16. You know what I'm saying? She was with old dude from 16 to 19.
Right.
First year of college, it didn't work out. This is a story we've heard a million times.
The
right?
pace has a lot to do with it. You're absolutely right on that. So I'm not saying she's 30 and she just got 5 guys. That's like a.
That's nothing.
Yeah, that's
when
nothing.
You think about it, yeah.
But in most cases, these girls do 5 guys. And like they do 5 guys in like 6 months, bro. Like line up, just line up 5 guys and see how many that is. That's 5.
But no, you spitting. You definitely.
And I'm not trying to shame women. I'm just telling you that's the difference.
You spit
that's
facts.
the difference.
That
our culture, the culture is the difference.
It's been proven that you lose the ability to pair bond after a certain amount of partners. I don't know what that exact number is, but yes, and it hits the female differently than the male. Absolutely, because you have to understand, women, the amount of dedication a woman needs to have to a man is different than the amount of dedication a man needs to have for a woman. I know people, oh my God, he said that? Oh my God, he said that? But you have to think about biology and how women were created and how deeply they love and how deeply they attach to you. There is a certain level of that it can just never come back. Whereas, go ahead.
No, I'm saying we're gonna pin this conversation. One day. Now we're gonna continue about. I would love to have some women here. As we talk about this, because a lot of guys that switch up when the girls get here. I want you to say the same thing when we get some chicks over here now, bro.
No, I'm telling you. The amount of dedication a woman needs to have is different, because you have to realize a woman is getting shot at her all the freaking time. From basically 15 until whatever we'll say 30. We'll say from 15 to 30, even beyond if she's a dime. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying average. She ain't in the same kind of shape later. I'm just saying. But let's just say we'll say 15 to 40 to be nice. So from 15 to 40, the amount of shots that she has getting shot at her at all times, if she's out and about and she's attractive, right, is not comparable to the man. We forget sometimes that the man is the hunter. So it's not the same exact dynamic. So the dedication she has to have to one man has to be stronger than the man towards the woman, because that dedication is being tested all the freaking time. A guy, unless he's a celebrity or some other kind of outlier, he's not being tested the same kind of way all the time. And when I say the dedication, I mean the fact that she has to see him as the best for her. He doesn't have to be the best in the world. I'm not saying he got to be Michael Jordan, the best basketball player. He got to be the tallest guy. He got to be the strongest guy. No, not that. She's got to have that dedication of, this is the best guy for me. Whoever she is, whatever station she's at, she's got to feel he's the best for me. And it's different for the guy, because the woman, being hypergamous, she's looking for the guy to be taller, the guy to be stronger, the guy to be smarter, the guy to provide more. The guy is not looking to the woman for that. I'm not looking for the same exact things. So yes, I'm going to be dedicated to my wife. I'm going to take care of my wife.
Peace and pleasure.
But it's a different dynamic. It's a different type of dedication.
Right.
So when he said 5 or whatever is the number where she loses a layer of that, there's some truth to that, because the guy who is the first man that she's ever touched, he's going to reach a part of her that no one else has touched before, right? The second guy, he's still more or less going to be in that same category. The first 2 guys, the first one, especially if it was a short relationship, he may not have had that profound of an impact. The second guy, he's got that same ability to really transform her, for her to really be absorbed in his soul for the most part. That starts to wane after a couple more guys. It's not exactly the same. And facts. With a guy, it's a whole different experience. It's a whole different situation. The woman wants a man with experience, wants a man who's done some things in the world. With a guy, it's the opposite.
We want to be the first.
He wants to be the first. He's looking for the woman who has not been scarred by the world, who's not jaded, who's not seen it all, done it all.
I would say this, what the OG told me, he said, and this might offend some women when I say this, but he said a woman proves her loyalty with her body. A man proves his loyalty with his wallet.
I've never heard that. That's interesting.
Meaning that the majority of that man's resources that he worked for is going to go to the family, to the wife. Now, he might step out and, hit a little happy, little tuck job spot. Yeah, he might do some extra. He might sway around every now and then on the extra payday or something, but for the most part, he's going to be the main provider of the home. I think Zoe said something that was real too in the interview. He was just saying, the podcast, he was just saying that, back in the day, women really couldn't afford to divorce their husbands like they can now. You know what I'm saying?
No, they couldn't.
Right, and that the same thing might apply to foreign women too.
I see what you're getting at. You're kind of getting at the fact that perhaps foreign women are more quote unquote loyal because of economic concerns. And yeah, you would be a fool to pretend like economics do not affect dating markets, but culture does too. Like you've said in previous examples, you'll see women who are with a guy who is not balling, and these are attractive women. Women who, if they wanted to, they could get a guy who made more money. And I mean, like, easily.
What's good, family? Make sure to check out the official Passport Bros merch store.